Back before the Dark Knight trilogy, there was already competing Batman projects in development, from trying to get Batman onto Smallville to trying to shoehorn him into a Catwoman film, which of course, in retrospect, we know that none of these things happened. Now let's talk about the insanity behind the Catwoman embargo. So if you guys remember, after the huge success and a great response to Michelle Pfeiffer's version of Catwoman, despite Batman Returns failing to deliver what people wanted, there was still a push to make a Catwoman film. While it would sit in development hell for a decade, they would inevitably transition over into a reboot and try to reboot Catwoman on her own. This of course starred Halle Berry, and well, the film is now infamous, and I am glad that it's not one of those films like the terrible Ang Lee Hulk film, or other films along that ilk that have suddenly gotten this revisionist history that they're great gems that people overlooked. No, this film was straight trash, and it's seen in pretty much every regard in everything related to the film when you watch it and know what happened behind the scenes. Now, of course, the Dark Knight trilogy would go on to introduce their own Catwoman after that failure, but we know that there was embargoes for Chris Nolan to not use Catwoman due to this film, and who knows what else was happening as the film released in 2004, just slightly ahead of Batman Begins. But more interestingly than that is recent details we learned in regards to this film. Specifically, that they at one point were told, yeah, Batman universe, it's cool. But then Chris Nolan signs on, they're like, look, no Batman. Don't mention Batman. Don't mention anything to do with that. As a matter of fact, don't even mention this is a DC comic. As a matter of fact, don't pretend you're in a comic book film. Just do Catwoman, do whatever you will. Just ignore the comics altogether. Pretend like it's not her. Halle Berry then talked a little bit about the suit, the backlash, in regards to her skin color, and so many other things. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was pretty active on the internet back in the day when this was in development, and I don't remember too many people complaining about her skin color. I really don't. And again, I was in some forums where there were some pretty vile people, and even they were like, she's good enough in the other roles, sure, why not? There's obviously a couple outliers, but I don't remember this being a giant issue at all. It was only when the movie was garbage that everybody was like, whoa, oh man, who do we blame? Might as well blame her as well. You know, it's not as toxic back then as it is today. That's what I'm trying to say. And there's also something else that they mentioned that completely blows my mind, and that's that when developing this film, anytime that they were trying to even slightly resemble Catwoman in the comics, they were told no. So why didn't they just make an original film? You know?